Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Dr. Haifa Maamar. I am the Executive Director of Emerging Technologies here at Full Sail University. And today we are here at the Orlando Health Fortress. Welcome everyone who's here. And we're streaming live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So today we'll be talking about AI. We've been seeing so many different AI tools that are created every day and in so many different industries. And we get overwhelmed with the number of AI tools that exist, and we don't even know which one to use sometimes and how to elevate which one is good for our industry, which one is good for our business, what is it like, and sometimes you find yourself like trying 4 or 5 at the same time, and none of them is working for you, and so on. So we made today's episode because we really want to go further deep into which AI tools are being created, in what industry, what is the need, how can we choose, how can we measure success of all these AI tools. And so it's all about AI in action. How are we really choosing about the AI tools that exist in there? And today I'm joined with an amazing panel of very accomplished individuals. So we're starting with, on my right, Hassan Seguias, my dear friend. He is the CEO and founder of Elevux. Welcome, Hassan. Dr. Rebecca Leis. She is the program director of the computer science programs and the user experience. Welcome, Bex. Rich Overholt. He is the director of learning management systems at Full Sail University. And Dr. Holly Ludgate, she is the director of learning at DC3, which is part of Full Sail. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time today. I'm really excited about today's episode and today's subject because I experienced it myself this week, where I was trying to do something with an AI, and I found myself Googling which AI, and then downloading about 5 different tools and trying them, and none of them worked, which kind of gave me the output or the result I was looking for, the outcome I was looking for. So first, let's start by introductions. Hassan, and then we go to Bex and so on. If you can talk more about yourself, and then talk about how is AI being used in your industry or your company.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for having me. Very nice to see you all here. My name is Hassan Seguias. I am the CEO at Elevux.
And a Full Sail grad.
And a Full Sail grad, yeah. Yep. 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yes.
And the way we use AI is in a very novel way. It's not in your face. It's very in the background, always working to provide insights, whether it is to prove ROI, whether it is to understand the context of your learning, or even to create new content. So AI has permeated every aspect of our business, but in a very subtle and intuitive way.
Welcome, thank you. I can't wait to go deeper into really what you're doing at Elevux.
Hello, my name is Dr. Rebecca Leis. I am the program director of the computer science programs and the user experience programs here at Full Sail. My team does a lot of use of AI, and we build AI, and we also use AI to inform the curriculum that we're teaching our students as well.
And we have an AI concentration.
Yes, we do.
Science program.
We have AI concentration, and we also have an AI component to our computer science masters as well.
Yay. Thank you, Bex. Rich?
Hey, I'm Rich Overholt. I am the director over learning management systems here at Full Sail. We build, develop, and improve every day on FSO. See a lot of students here.
Can you tell us more about FSO? Because we have audience here that are Full Sail students, but online we have many who don't know this.
We do a lot of really unique things as a university. It's everything from the fast pace, the manner in which we develop and distribute our curriculum. Thank you.
Okay.
Microphone didn't work. But we also choose to develop and build our own learning management system. And, we essentially bake this to order. And it gives us a lot of control over the way that this looks and the way that it functions. Aesthetics are really important to us here. Canvas and Blackboard are not going to cut it for us, so we want something that's going to look a little
No
nicer
offense to
and behave
Canvas
a
and
little
Blackboard.
nicer. As far as the AI tools, though, as a person who is developing solutions for a living, we're essentially over a team of software developers here in a higher ed institution. So it's a pretty unique stance and a place to be employed. So we really utilize the tools heavily for productivity purposes, literally recording our meetings and creating transcripts that we can search to discover important takeaways and decisions that we make. But we're always looking to build a better mousetrap, and so this is a big part of our go-forward strategy. Everything from smarter searches to, again, eventually having a big role in support in the classroom.
Dr. Ludgate?
Yes, hi, Dr. Holly Ludgate. I am the Director of Learning here at DC3, which stands for Digital Centric Education at Full Sail. So DC3 specifically creates short-form content. So it is bite-sized information that could be 3-4 weeks long. It just depends on what you're into taking. So we have a lot of different types of courses. One of the reasons that I believe I'm here today is we've recently created generative AI courses in gaming, film, music, all these different topics. But I'd actually, if you won't mind, I'd love to show you a quick little demo of how we actually use AI tools to build our courses. Please.
Let's play This Is a Reel.
Aside from genres and musical elements, there are instruments that are grouped into categories such as strings, brass, woodwinds, and percussion.
Wow, that's a super cool video.
We like to have fun in DC3.
Yeah, you used AI to create that video?
We did. We used AI to help create the video, yes.
Well, that's cool. Okay, so we are going to talk about how to use or what kind of AI tools that we can exist in different industries. The first industry I want to talk about is training and education. When we're talking about training specifically, you can use AI to generate new curriculum for upskilling, reskilling, skill development. But most importantly, Dr. Rebecca Leis earlier actually talked about how to determine the skills we're going to teach. So I want you to go further into that and deeper into that to explain how can we leverage AI to know which skills we need to teach and why we do that here at Full Sail University.
Sure. And I have a couple of slides that we can pull up. But one of the things that we've been doing here at Full Sail is we've actually been using AI for quite a while. And one of the things that we've been focusing in on is natural language processing. And a lot of people think that there's AI tools out there and that's like the only thing that you can do. But we also teach how to build those AI tools as well. So generative AI tools for use and then also how to build those, right? One of the things that's really important, though, is that as we are building out this curriculum, we try to figure out what should we teach, right? And one of the things that can happen during that time is you can web scrape and figure out what what types of skills are being asked of in a particular field. So on the left side of the screen, you'll see a histogram. This is actually a pretty simple technique. You can see it, yeah, fantastic. You can see a histogram, and this is a histogram that I pulled quite a while ago, actually, probably about 2-3 years ago at this point. But we're looking at different skill sets within a particular field. And this is a fairly simple thing that you can do using natural language processing. So we look at what are the skills that are being asked of, what are the skills that are being taught, and what are the skills that are being applied by web scraping things like job postings, course descriptions, and then open journal articles. And from that, we also look at how similar are those skills as we're building them out. And so on the right side of the screen, you'll see what we call a topic model. And the topic model shows how related different subjects are so that you can build on things very quickly. Here at Full Sail, we have 12 months to start over, to adapt, to do whatever. So this allows us to be able to adapt really quickly in a sustainable way. And we can go to the next slide. Essentially, what I did in my research was I looked at what's the difference between, like I said, the job postings, the course descriptions, and what is being applied in the open source journal articles. And what I found was a lot of it was based off of the process. What is the process from start to finish? What does an end-to-end project look like? And it'll be different for different fields, but we're also going to need to adapt to things like tools, like what AI tools should we be using in the future? We are not using the same tools now that we were using 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? So we always need to be adapting, and the thing that really kind of is the underlying scaffolding that helps us is the process. And then how do we use this as a real world example? We can look at job titles, for example. That's one of the things that I do in my job is I try to figure out what job titles can we show students so that they can articulate this information to a future employer. And in order to do that, I can look at job postings, pull the title, what are the most frequent titles, and then you start with the vague titles and you work your way down to a specialist, and then that way a student can tie their skills back to that job title and then also articulate that to a future employer. And this is in terms of trying to figure out what is the end goal, what does an expert look like? But I know we're going to talk a little bit about what does a student look like, and then also how to dive into passion a little bit more, right?
Yes, actually, when we were talking about this earlier, Hassan, you had a very good comment, because here, what we're trying to do at Full Sail is really look at where the industry is going, because we are an educational institution. So we try to make sure that we're creating programs that deliver students who will get the jobs that are available. So it's all about employment for us, making sure that we are teaching skills that will help the students get the job that they're dreaming about. But earlier, actually, you made a very good comment about, well, also we need to look at AI and how it can determine the passion. So I would love for you to go into that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do believe that AI can empower us to not only find the right job when we're ready for it, but also be our own bosses. And it can empower us to be more than just someone else's employee, for example. And that has to start with the point of passion, right? That's what I call it. So where do you start knowing that what you're doing in school or whatever it is that you're doing is what you actually enjoy doing? And your job search doesn't necessarily, or your education doesn't have to be tied to what the job market is looking for, but rather what you're passionate about. And the beautiful thing about AI is that it will empower you, will give you the tools to actually discover whatever your passion is much faster and put it into action much faster.
I love that. Just a quick, I forgot to mention this. Today we're also doing things differently here. We're also using AI tools because we're trying to increase the engagement with our audience. We want to hear from you guys. So Dr. Ludgate and myself, we went into finding which tool works best for this purpose specifically, which goes back to our episode today. But we found Slido, and I'm not doing any kind of advertisement for anything, but I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to first have you, you can use your phone and scan the QR code. But I want to hear from you about what excites you most about generative AI. Do you like it? You don't like it? I see already some people already started putting words, but we'll go later on into the results of all the words that you put there. Okay, so let's go back to how we are using AI in training and education and skill development. How do you think AI is changing professional skill development and learning experiences? And do you see any kind of challenging in using AI for upskilling, reskilling, and training in general? Anybody? You can jump in.
Yeah, I'll take on it. Well, the challenges have always been there in training. I think that AI, more than creating challenges, is creating opportunities.
I agree with that.
AI should be seen as a tool, as a technology that can augment our roles, our professions, our personal lives. It all depends how we use it. And yeah, there will be people who use it for bad things, but if we use it the right way, I think the AI has a potential to really elevate us. So with that said, when it comes to training, I think some of the challenges that we face is how people feel about it. That's why I started saying this, because people sometimes feel, well, if an AI agent or a tool can do my job, sometimes even better or faster than I can, what is my role? And it's a very valid and fair thought to have. But the truth is that AI is not really replacing us in any way, just like the internet did not replace people. It just allowed us to do so much more. With the internet, we can have access to any kind of information in a matter of seconds.
Yep.
And what AI is going to do for us is take all of this information that has been centralized by the internet and actually take action on it, right? Reason, and help us move faster and take away all of these repetitive tasks that take up almost 80% of our jobs. If you're a designer, filmmaker, how much time do you spend building wireframes, ideating, testing, usability tests? All of those things could actually be automated by AI. And what that will do is not take your job away, but it will allow you to have more time to do more of what you love, which is design and be creative.
I love that.
Specifically in DC3, we decided to create generative AI courses because so many Full Sail graduates and just creatives out in the industry are in music and gaming and film, and they don't exactly know how to use these tools. So we said, well, what can we do to help them start exploring these tools in a safe environment instead of having it driven by fear? And so that's been a really wonderful process to be able to build these courses for students.
So that's a nice transition to our next topic. We talked about the training, we talked about education. Let's move towards the other industry, the creative industry, where we're talking, I mean, I'm not saying that training and education are not, but like the film, the music, the audio, film, music, gaming, and so on, they all require creativity in a certain way. So Dr. Ludgate, you are about, and I guess your courses are already live at this point. Five courses are already live at this point of generative AI in gaming, music, marketing, design, and filmmaking. Did I mention
marketing will be early next year, but the 4, yes.
The 4, yes. Well, congratulations on that. And for anyone who's interested in learning more about which tools to use in this industry, I would encourage you to do that and check the DC3 courses. But so, as you said, Full Sail University is known for entertainment media and emerging technologies. So for the entertainment media, now we're seeing lots of tools that are being created on a daily basis where in all these industries, and sometimes you don't know where to start with them. So I guess this is where you had the whole idea of generating all these courses about generative AI tools in these industries. But I want to know more from you about how is AI, I'm going to talk about the courses later, but from your experience going through this, how was AI enhancing the creative process without diminishing, and I like the artist's role?
That is such a great question, and I think a lot of times there's fear of the unknown and not knowing what it is that this tool is going to do. Is it going to take away my creative freedoms? Am I going to be completely absent from the soul of what is created? However, there is so much opportunity to have it just open your eyes to more. And so it allows you, instead of having 2 ideas, you may have 20 ideas. And so for us, and specifically my team, we have been able to look and think even more globally than we have before because these tools have allowed for us to see other things that never would have come into our brain. You know, utilizing these tools and just exploring has just opened up a wealth of resources for us.
And do you think the tools that you used in your courses are what's needed in the industry? Do you see there is a connection between the courses that you created and the tools that you created with the industry and the skills they're expecting?
Well, what I will say is the tools are always going to change, always. So our goal is to establish a foundation of figuring out the appropriate tool for the task. And so we introduce a few different tools that might work, but they're going to change, and we know that, and that's actually one of the things I'll talk about is why we decided to utilize certain tools to build. But they are going to continually change. The ones that we have in the courses right now are very much aligned. As you saw, Mid-Journey, Runway, all of these are in the industry, and they're being utilized, and so we want to cover those, but we know constantly these are going to change.
Okay, thank you.
And I think one of the things, too, that you can get from a course like this is not necessarily how to use the tools or which tools to use, but start thinking with a AI-first thought process.
Exactly.
Because that is going to happen, whether we like it or not. Just like the internet happened to us, this is already happening, and there's no going back.
Yeah.
So if you want to stay relevant in your profession, whatever that is, you have to start thinking with an AI-first approach.
I love it, Hassan. Thank you for saying that, because that's exactly how I think. For people who think that AI is going to steal their job, I feel like it's somebody who knows how to use AI or any AI tools or have those skills is who's going to steal a job later on. A quick peek at our Slido. I see that people are excited most about generative AI because it's an intelligence partner. That's amazing. Please keep putting your words there. We would love to hear from you. Okay, so I'm going back to you, Dr. Ludgate, because I want to know more about the courses that you created and the tools that you chose. You probably went through a vetting process of all the tools that in a certain industry. So I want to know more about how was that vetting process? How many tools did you test? Just to give a quick thing, yesterday I'm not a designer, I'm an engineer. Design is not my thing whatsoever. But I needed to do some design quickly, and I'm like, the only thing, I need to visualize it. I'm very visual. And the first thing, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to an AI, and I started putting all the information that I want to see in the picture that's about to be generated. And then I felt that the AI kept pushing me towards a direction. And I'm like, that's not really my vision. I want it, like I kept changing it, and it will change the picture, but then comes back. If I do another iteration of changes, it will come back. I know that probably the AI is not there yet, where like it's not really trained enough to get the directions that I'm giving. But I want to know from the courses, the tools, and how you tested them and so on, did you feel that the AI tools were impacting or influencing your creative direction, approach, and how things, or probably the industry experts that you were using in your courses based on whether film or music and so on, did they feel that the AI was really, I mean, yes, it's elevating, but their creativity, is it there or not?
That's a really interesting thought and question, because we definitely utilize subject matter experts in the courses that we have because they are really the foundation. And so we know the tools are going to change, and it's what is currently there. As far as the creative vision goes, that is why the experts are there, because it's not going to give you exactly, but if you're a designer, you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to take what they've given me and I'm going to go and make it exactly what I want. And we have to do that. We currently create videos. It's not perfect. We then have to have the editor go in and really make it to what we want it to be. Mm-hmm. So it is not a one and done, at least for what we're trying to create. But it at least gets us a lot farther along than initially we would have been. So it has streamlined our process significantly. We do go through a vetting process. We use a video AI host tool. One of the main reasons we use it is to solve a problem. We wanted to create courses fast. We knew that the AI tools were going to change so rapidly, we could not get people and film them in a studio to be cost effective. So we said, okay, let's do an AI tool. Let's walk the walk. If we're creating these courses, we need to actually utilize all these tools. And so it has saved us a significant amount of money to then text-based, go in and change the text and have the video tool, the avatar, change exactly what they say. So that has really helped, but we still bring our vision into it. And I feel that it gets us so far, and then we actually take it over that finish line.
You've been talking about like this human AI loop, right?
Yes.
So human AI layering. How can we work with the AI to make sure that we are building something that is meeting our vision, right? And we were talking a little bit about challenges earlier. What kinds of things have we run into, right? I can think of a few examples. Shout out to Michael Edelnant. Him and I were kind of like working on a UX mascot for our UX program, and one of the things we were working towards was trying to build something like a UX unicorn that is also a professor, right? And at some point, it was giving me some really weird outputs. It had like a unicorn's like head coming out of a human's forehead, and it was really kind of odd. But as we start working with tools like AI, we can start training it and making it get closer to what we actually want. And doing that involves iteration, involves having that relationship between the human and the AI, and having that creative part included into it. So yeah.
Thank you. So we have a live demo today. Dr. Ludgate is going to walk us through a demo of two different tools, one for video and film generation and audio generation. Yeah.
Yes.
So go ahead if you can, as you're talking, as you're walking us through the demo, if you also can talk about some of the challenges that you encountered in this.
Sure. So as I'd mentioned before, we knew we were going to have to quickly change video because the tools are going to change so rapidly in AI that we wanted to find a host. And so we went through several different tools. We met with people and we determined what was the best tool for us. And I will tell you, and I will recommend, anytime you're looking at AI tools and maybe doing the investment into a pro account or whatever, click on terms and conditions, because those are one of the most important things to check out. Who owns what? And that is always the consideration you need to think about. And that was a big one for us. So when we download our videos, when they're final, they're ours. They're not owned by anybody else. And that was a big thing for us. So one of the first things we do is we go in and we'll write our script, typically with ChatGPT, and then go back and refine it. And then we go in here to hour one, and we will create a video. And so I just wanted to show you how quickly you can generate video here. So I'm going to go in. I'll just take the first of a first paragraph, and I'm going to create just from script. And then I'll click Create Video. So it's going to be generating video. So while it's doing its work, I'm going to go over here. Well, it generated quickly. OK, so just so you can see, because I didn't generate too much, on the right-hand side, we've got different scenes. So you can choose your layout. So if I don't want a two-screen video, I can go down here and choose, let's choose maybe this one. And the content. So right now, the avatar is Jesse. But let's say I want somebody different. So I'm looking for a totally different look and feel here. So let's go with Marvin. All right? And so we've got Marvin here. And then we'll go back to our scene. And right now, we have a voice called Josh. And we can see it's tagged by natural, calm, middle-aged, but we're going to choose something a little bit different. Let's hear Richard.
This is an example of my voice. Please choose me.
Okay, so we can kind of hear, okay, does this make sense? Does this not for the person we are looking at? So then I might say, you know what? Now that I think about this, I actually want to appeal to a different audience. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to translate my video into Haifa will appreciate this, French.
Ooh.
So I'm going to auto-translate all of this into French, like that. All right? And then it's giving me my same avatar, but I now have a different voice. All right? So we can listen to it quickly.
Ceci est un exemple de ma voix. S'il vous plaît, choisissez-moi.
Okay. And so from there, I can say, okay, this makes sense or this doesn't. For the sake of time here, I'll do a quick background change on this. We will go down here like I did before, just so we've got some consistency here. And I will click Create Video. Okay, so now it's generating the video. Now, while it's doing that, what we have found is sometimes the generation of the audio from specifically this tool isn't exactly what we want. Or maybe we want to create some sound effects. So we also utilize this tool called 11 Labs. And so what you can do here is you can go in and you can type in what you want it to say. All right, and then we can pick anyone we want. Let's do Paola.
Failure doesn't mean you are a failure. It just means you haven't succeeded yet.
Okay. So then if we like that sound, then we could click Generate Speech.
Full Sail University is hosting Tech Tuesday, a special live panel session featuring some of the top minds in
Okay, so how we utilize this is we'll then take this audio and we'll overlay it on the other video in hour one, which, let me refresh, it takes a minute sometimes to generate.
Are you able to choose the tone or the voice?
You can. Now, with that being said, hour one and even 11 Labs, the intonation is still not 100%. You can change their excitement, you can change certain things, but not everything. So we're still rendering video here, but there are certain things that are still not exactly right. Like you'll notice, even in the video from before, their hand gestures still aren't there. And AI is getting better, but it is not perfect. But that is where the creative vision can come in. And so maybe it's like, okay, well, let's cut this video so you're a little bit higher, or let's put them in a different type of scene where you're not paying attention. We've had videos that we've created where we've done walkthroughs to kind of have people look away from their awkward hands, right? Because we know it's an AI video. And we also kind of make fun of it being an AI host. Like, you know, I'm here talking about AI, but we're going to have a real human, unlike me. Like, we'll do some fun things with it, too, to not fool the audience, right? So the rendering takes
still has 65% to render. So I want to know some of the AI tools that you used in gaming, for example. I'm looking at the board behind you, and I see many gaming students here with us today. So I would love for you to go, can you remember some of the tools that you used, or what direction? Did you use AI for narrative? Did you use AI for like designs?
Right. So in our AI and gaming course, certainly we created our videos from there, but we also went into, I believe, Runway to create some of the background scenes. But we also have that foundation where we need to have people who need to understand how to use Unreal. But the gaming tools are getting better. And so I will say that over time, I think we're going to see even more tools that can help aid in you getting faster at game creation, which is pretty exciting, but I feel like it's definitely a budding area that we're still seeing just emerge at this point.
Yeah, and specifically, you can also use things like natural language processing, OpenAI APIs to build better non-player characters and having conversations with non-player characters. That's another way that you can use it specifically in gaming.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of gaming, I have seen a lot of, by the way, my company also built one of the first metaverse platforms that can run on a web browser. So
we had a Tech Tuesday about that, and we did the TikTok.
So I have a lot of experience with the challenges that come with building real-time 3D objects for environments, even more for a browser. Mm-hmm. So the levels of optimization and the amount of time that it takes to build these assets is incredible. And they are already, they're not perfect, but they will be very soon, tools that you tell them, build me an island with a bunch of palm trees, and it will go ahead and generate at least the foundations or the basics of those 3D models for real time, for rendering, for whatever use that you need them for. And the way I would look at it if I was into game design or a 3D artist, I would look at this as a way for me to build faster and do more. So if I have a project that would take me 3 months, now this with AI, it would take me a month. What does that mean? It means that I can do either 3 projects, or I can take this one project and perfect it for the next 2 months. So I do see the advent of AI in game design as a huge plus for all of us.
Amazing. So we have the video already.
Yes,
You want to play it quickly?
Let's listen.
L'université Full Sail organise le Tech Tuesday, une session spéciale en direct avec certains des esprits les plus brillants en intelligence artificielle générative. Cet événement unique explorera l'impact transformateur de l'intelligence artificielle dans l'éducation et l'industrie, offrant aux participants des aperçus sur la façon dont l'IA révolutionne notre approche de l'apprentissage, de la créativité et de l'innovation.
So you can see the hands are still not there.
The expressions of the face also are still...
It's still not as natural. We typically drop the background and put our own backgrounds in, so we'll green screen it and then overlay our own stuff on the background. But that fast, text to video, that fast.
That's great.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And it's also great if you're thinking, hey, I've got an incredible skill that I want to share with the world. I want to create some training. These types of tools can quickly get you out there creating courses or creating content very quickly, and you don't have to have a ton of experience in video editing or anything like that to get that going.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ludgate, for the demo. We really appreciate it. And if you want to know more about the courses that DC3 has, specifically in generative AI, just check their website.
FullSailDC3.com.
That one. So, talking about Full Sail, we mentioned earlier we have a concentration in the computer science program about artificial intelligence. We have different courses across entertainment media and emerging technologies, whether we're teaching AI or teaching some AI tools or generative AI tools in that industry and so on. But actually, we're going, as Full Sail, we're creative, we're innovative, and so on. Of course, we're always about our students. How can we help our students? How can we support our students? And the obvious thing there is, given our own platform, our own amount of knowledge that exists on Full Sail 1 and different platforms, it's difficult for students to find things sometimes and to get a quick answer. So the chatbot, an AI chatbot created by Full Sail University and specifically by you, Rich, was created, and I guess it's going live. I don't know when it's going live. I guess you're going to be telling us about that. But can you tell me more about the AI chatbot and what were the key steps into creating an AI chatbot? And if you can, please talk about some of the challenges. And why is it important to have a chatbot? Yes, we understand the whole engagement aspect of it, improving the engagement, but how is this improving the experience of the students?
So I'd say, first of all, for those that might not know literally what a chatbot is, I always like to think of the use case of you're landing in your checking account provider's bank website, and inevitably there's some type of a widget that's floating down in the lower right-hand corner that's like, hey, notice you stopped by. Can I help you here today? And it's AI powering this experience. So we really are in an amazing place in terms of the resources that we offer here as a school. And I mean, we have so many students that are in the audience today, and I mean, I think you've all experienced either a passionate enrollment guide helping you at some point, or student success, or accommodation services, all these wonderful human beings that also have at their disposal tons and tons of written resources. And I think the thing that a chatbot really does best is kind of bringing great information to a person who needs it at that precise moment in time. I would say, as far as the process goes, you really just need to think what you want your experience to feel and look like. Now, in terms of like student support, what are the kinds of things that we need access to? We need information about our academic calendar. I'm enrolled in a certain course. I'm in month X. What's the next class in my sequence?
What is my class? Yeah. What are the rules about? Yeah.
Yeah, things about where do I go to make a tuition payment. I feel like I'm in an unsafe position. I need security now. So there's all these great resources, and it's tens and tens of thousands of pages of stuff. but you have to know where to go, and you have to have this precise search string that needs to be entered in order to get a really good result to help you in that moment. And to me, that's really the advantage here. So when I say you have to be envisioning what you want, is this a map retrieval tool? Okay, well then you need a platform that's going to be able to handle and serve up images that are stored in a database somewhere and be able to return that out with text. It could be parsing a video repo somewhere and looking for a snippet of video. With us, the majority of these assets were text-based, so this made this a little simpler. We chose a platform that really kind of checked 3 boxes for us. Number one, the development and sort of the ease of training and everything is incredibly rapid and incredibly flexible, and I'll talk to that in the demo in a moment. Was going to be reasonable from a cost perspective. I think the mic just died. Reasonable from a cost perspective, because those things do matter. And would give us the ability to let the teams themselves that are responsible for the information and its upkeep to be able to monitor and actually have some role in looking at the conversation. I want to see what this bot is serving out to the student when they ask for information under my domain of control. And I want to be able to either say, that's great, more of that, or not so good, do this other response instead.
Okay.
So those were really the core values and why we wound up choosing chatbase.co as our platform.
So let's talk about the demo. Do you want to show us a bit about the AI
Absolutely.
Chatbot?
Picture says 1,000 words.
As Rich is getting ready, we have a new poll that is active right now. It's about which areas do you think AI can have the greatest impact? Again, you can scan that QR code or add join the slido.com and put the number, and you will have the information. Can we please have the computer displayed? There you go.
And I'm multitasking with this mic here, so typing
can
would be
do
an
it.
interesting voyage. Okay, so we have this proof of concept where we've been exposing this to our users on kind of an alpha basis. So right now there's leaders from most of the student-facing departments at Full Sail kind of participating in a training exercise. So I'd say we've been playing around with this for about 60 days, and what it really is involved in is putting all manner of student-facing questions in, and then gauging the quality of the responses and seeing what was going to come back out. So just to kind of give an example, I'm sure we have a few students in here that utilize Pro Tools, right? So very common help desk ticket that gets submitted to our technical support department. I need assistance loading Pro Tools on my computer. So what we did is uploaded in the training set all of the instructional materials that we currently have in our tech support system here. And we use this to train the model. So again, the other thing I kind of mentioned before was cost. And you know, those of you that maybe are nerds into this, like, well, all of us, I guess, up here on the stage at the moment, you know, OpenAI just released their cutting-edge newest model last month. I think it was on the 12th of October. And it is a lot more expensive to use in terms of putting a query into it and getting a result than the model that they built and trained and spent billions of dollars building, by the way, that they released 3 years ago. So it literally could be 50 times the expense using the latest, greatest model than something that's a couple of years old that can be trained up with knowledge-based information. And frankly, we don't want a super extemporaneous response with this. What I want it to do is say, read out the instructions very carefully. These are technical instructions. Take no liberties with these. So this type of model is perfect for this. Now, when you talk about the creative applications and different use cases beyond something like this, you probably want a newer model that's going to be able to have, again, a more off-the-cuff or natural feeling and tone to the conversation, where this is just really good at Let me go find the thing in the catalog and retrieve it to you and give it exactly as it was entered. So that's sort of the main benefit to it.
Okay.
And again, it's way cheaper. So the other great thing is as these questions are coming in, this is me on the admin side. So I can see the entirety of the conversation that's coming in as the owner of the data. I can tease it up or down by giving literal sentiment like this. And I can also revise the answer. And the answer can have phone numbers that are, eligible for a dialer if you're accessing this on the phone. Clickable email addresses that'll open up the email client on the device, all those sorts of things. So it's very easy for somebody to edit this and ensure that we're serving out a great response. And editing is no more difficult than clicking on a revise answer, pasting in some new text, and clicking update. So there's a combination training here of real-time feedback from human beings, but also database connections to the systems where the data itself lives. And it's just ingesting that and becoming smarter and learning from it all the time on a regular schedule. So, new articles available in the knowledge base system today? Great, I'll ingest them, I'll start serving that information out immediately. And it just does it every day, on and on.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I can't wait for this AI chatbot to go live and see what our students think about it and how it's going to improve their experience. So we're all talking about supporting the student. We have the AI chatbot, we have the program, and so on. But how can we further support our students in the future? There are so many other things that we can talk about in terms of improving the experience of our students in the future.
Yeah, so we can do things like customized learning experiences. And we were talking a little bit before about what is our expert, right? And we were talking about the natural language processing we showed earlier. And then we also talked about where is the current student. We chatted a little bit before. We talked about, what happens if the student is just having a really bad week? Like maybe they had a whole bunch of things happen to them. How can we take that into account as we are adjusting their curriculum? And that's mainly a way for us to be able to individualize your learning experience moving forward. There are different levels of learning. So at the beginning, you do things like you start to memorize information, you're understanding information, you start to learn more about it, and then you eventually get to a point where you can evaluate things. And it's really important to get to that evaluate part because that's when you start to realize whether or not AI is giving you a correct answer or not. We talk a little bit about hallucinations and how AI can hallucinate. The way to adjust and account for that is by asking it small little clarifying questions along the way. And as you're learning, you can do that. And it can give you feedback immediately, which helps you move all of that information from your short-term memory into your long-term memory, which will allow you to grasp the information more.
I love this. Thank you for that explanation. So looking at the Slido, at the poll, we have, people think the areas where they think AI have the greatest impact. We're talking efficiency, we're talking careers, we're talking ideation, workflow optimization, accessibility, and so on. So amazing.
Yeah, if I may, I think
of course.
Let's talk about AI stealing. And let's talk about that. It's perhaps an uncomfortable conversation to have, but I think it's very important that we have it because I think it's in a lot of people's minds.
I have a question about ethics in 2 questions, so let's do it. Let's get into it right now.
And you guys are a creative school, and if there's a lot of doubt and fear that AI is stealing art or other people's ideas, then that is something that you guys should address. It should be addressed. So, not to call anyone out, but do you mind sending up whoever wrote that? I just want to ask a few more questions about how or why you feel that way.
And they may be online.
Okay, might be online?
They may be online.
All right, well,
I'm not going to know that.
Well, here's how I look at it. Yes, it is true that AI models have been trained on other people's works. And the truth is that for AI to exist, there was no other way around it. There really wasn't.
You need to train it. You need to.
You've got to be trained.
Learn.
So the way I look at it is like this. Pick your favorite artist. I assure you, if you go back in time, that artists pick up cues from another artist, that pick up cues from another artist, and so on and so on and so on. So our ideas are only original to an extent, because there's nothing you create that hasn't been done before. Maybe you do it with a little tweak, your own little spark, and that's fine. That's what makes it yours. But at the end of the day, AI is really not stealing anything. AI is just a technology that is ingesting information, and the person that is perhaps stealing is the person who asked an AI bot to create a Picasso-style artwork and then use it for their own business or for their own marketing purposes. That's stealing. The AI bot, AI technology is just, it does what you tell it to do, period. It's not really stealing anything. And the companies building these models, yes, they took that information, but at the end of the day, they're not doing anything with that information. The people who are actually taking that information and doing something with it is all of us. So it really depends on all of us how we use that information and how we use it to our own leverage to build new things and innovate more and discover more.
In terms of ethics, one of the other things that we can kind of look into are how do different tools utilize the training models underneath the AI generative tool. So for example, Firefly, I tried asking it the other day for a Pixar-like character, and it told me it could not produce what I was asking for because it couldn't utilize Pixar specifically because it wasn't mine. Pixar is not my name, right? It is not my company, it's not whatever. So in terms of like what can you do and what can't you do, there are a lot of things that the AI companies themselves who are humans, and we can converse with them, just say, hey, we don't like you using X, Y, and Z. You can now put things like watermarks into AI-generated content. You can ask AI-generated content to not use a specific tool or a specific training model as well. So you can protect your work by saying, I don't want you using this, right? And there's a lot of things going into different organizations and also governance as well. And we're moving so very fast. If you don't really have any kind of historical background on governance, it's usually very slow compared to technology.
Oh, yes.
But AI has been such an important landmark tool that a lot of governance is quickly moving compared to previous technology innovation.
So thank you both for the explanation about the concerns in terms of ethical concerns, I would say, and I agree with both of you. I was keeping that comment about AI stealing to the ethical questions, but I'm glad we talked about it now. So we talked about concerns, we talked about tools, we talked about how it's changing the careers and the industries and so on. But for companies, like for example, for your company, for example, or even for us, or anyone who is deciding, or any other organization who decides to use AI as a tool, how are they measuring success and return on investment? What kind of KPIs they should look into to determine whether that investment of money that they did towards an AI system or an AI program or an AI tool is worth the money that they spent?
I mean, the biggest KPI of all is ROI, right? Like return on investment. And that is measured, that can actually be measured very easily. For us is productivity. Has our productivity and our output increased? If it has, then we know that AI is doing its job. So what we have done is, again, you use AI very strategically, just like you use any tool, as you use Photoshop or whatever it is that you're using at the moment. And we call them AI touch points. So we have a creative process from beginning to end, whatever that is. And maybe between steps 1 and 2, there's an AI checkpoint where we utilize it for a very specific reason. Hey, help us ideate names for a new brand. And boom, all right, give us a bunch of names, then we go ahead and tweak it to meet the brand's guidelines or the request from the client. And then maybe there's another touch point when it comes to color palettes, right? Generate 100 color palettes based on these different parameters. Again, designers, guys, if you are a designer, our job is not to know how to use Photoshop perfectly, right? or any other tool perfectly. Our job is to create, to innovate. And if we're spending all of our time building 100 color palettes, we are honestly not doing, we're doing less of what we should be doing. So I would see AI as a tool and as a medium for us to actually do more of the innovation and creative work rather than the minutia of removing a background from a photo.
So it's the productivity then is going to be your KPI, yes?
Yeah, so in addition to productivity, we can also look at our existing KPIs and try to figure out how was it before AI was introduced and after AI. But this also frees up our time to be able to explore new KPIs, new different things that we can kind of dig into deeper, try to figure out, is there an issue with this particular thing? How can we adjust here? How can we move forward here? How can we evolve in another place, right? And so there's a lot of different things that you can do. You don't have to be limited to the regular KPIs that you normally pay attention to in your organization.
Specifically, sorry to interrupt. Specifically with DC3, it has really helped support us moving faster, especially in the ideation process, and then also in the actual production process. We have been able to speed up the delivery at which we can create content for a fraction of the price, because the cost to film on set, it's expensive, and so to be able to cut those costs and then also meet a delivery deadline that is pretty aggressive is really important. And then also just the personal time that you are afforded, because you don't have to spend all of that extra time in some of the things that Hassan was talking about. That's just it's all labor intensive, and it's just basic, writing and just process. If you can free that up, you can be more present in your interactions and in your day-to-day life.
And for those of you who don't know what a KPI means, is a key performance indicator. And in simple words, it's how you measure success on any given project. That's what that means.
Yeah, we also try to apply like a product development lens to things. And so sue me, but we have a lot of different means of gathering kind of direct user sentiment, particularly application of different technologies in the courses. You've completed our course here at Full Sail. Tell us what you like and what you didn't like. And there's lots of opportunity to address the tech. So we're certainly looking to just extend use of that, but then also use the AI tools to facilitate the analysis itself. So it's sort of a double benefit when you look at it.
I love it. Okay, well, let's talk about the future. And actually, we're going to use ChatGPT here to see where AI is going. But as Holly is getting into the AI tool to ask the question, I really want to know from you guys, our industry experts, where do you see the AI tools or AI technology in 5 to 10 years? What kind of big impact it will have in the future?
I'll start. I think that, if it's capable of what it's capable of today, imagine in 5 years from today. I think in 5 years we're going to get to AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which means that AI systems will be as smart as a human being. And for me, the biggest impact is going to be in healthcare. I think AI is going to be the answer to cancer. And
well, it already started. Healthcare institutions are already using AI.
Any disease, really, because the truth is that finding a cure for something is not about discovering anything new. It's about connecting dots. And there is so much information out there that our brains no matter how many billions you pour into it, there's only so much we as people can do in terms of analyzing and connecting dots. So there is something out there. The cure for cancer hasn't been found because we haven't connected some dots that might be in front of us, but we just don't see it. But with AI and a very intelligent AI system or technology, it's going to be able to connect all of those dots and make us see things that we don't see today. So to me, that is very exciting.
Yeah, so getting to more of general AI, we talked about that it can do a lot of different things, pretty much anything a human can. And the way I like to describe general AI versus something like weak AI. So weak AI it does a few different tasks that a human can do. It mimics human behavior. We can think of this as like self-driving cars. They can detect pedestrians. They can switch lanes, but they might not be able to cook you an omelet. However, we can think of general AI as something like Data from Star Trek, who can fly a starship and then also cook you an omelet, right? And one of the things that's really important in terms of us getting to that point is that we have to make sure that the workflows are put into place, that we have interoperability between all of the different systems, and that we're communicating across all those different systems in a way that is going to be helpful to us. We want to make sure that we're verifying and validating all of that information before we put it into play and deploy the particular AI model.
That hits me right where I sleep. Well,
Rich, can you get the mic closer?
Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about productivity and that being such a big angle here. And it's just even to think, now you might use a tool to, let's say, I had a Zoom at work, and I used its tool to create, a transcript for me, and I'm going to paste that somewhere. Okay, already we've copied text from someplace and pasted it, so it can be ingested into some tool that can catalog it for us and then make it discoverable and all these things later. Mm-hmm. So the integration and the interoperability and the user experience thing, that's the magic, as you know. So it's how can we make separate systems behave as one and get the information where it needs to go so it's available when we need it.
And I know you mentioned like user experience. I want everyone here to know that AI is not new. AI actually has been around for quite a while. The term was coined in 1956. So there's even more ideation about AI that happened before then. Mm-hmm. But we are starting to see wide usage of it because of ChatGPT, specifically because of the usability of ChatGPT. That's why it became so very popular so quickly.
Yeah. Holly, do you want to share some of the thoughts that ChatGPT gave you about where the AI industry is going or the AI technology is going?
Absolutely. So there's a lot here, and it generated it within seconds. But we see personalized content creation, extended reality, immersive experiences, generative design for prototyping, collaboration, smart content adaptation across platforms. I like that. That I think is going to be really interesting to see how that grows throughout all the different platforms that we work in. Inclusive AI art and media. That's going to be really interesting, especially for the creative minds in here. AI-driven decision support in creative projects. That intellectual partner idea that was brought up earlier in our Slido, I think that's really a big piece of it. Interactive storytelling and narratives. I mean, we've certainly seen it with our AI and film course, and I definitely see that that's going to really help move us forward in NLP, natural language processing and whatnot. Skill building tools, and then creative preservation and revival. So a lot of interesting things on the horizon that I think a lot of our students and people out here can help shape.
Right. Well, everyone is telling me that, like, it's time for QA. We can go forever, I feel, like with all the different, your different experiences and your different backgrounds and how you're approaching AIs. So for those of you who are here, if you have a question, please walk to the mic and then introduce yourself, your name, your program, and then you can tell us your question, and everyone here will be able to answer you. Please go ahead. And then I will start with some questions that exist online. So the first question, it says, what are some things that developers should be vigilant about regarding ethics and AI? Do you have any real-world examples?
I have a couple.
Okay.
So one of the things that we focus in on in the computer science degree, particularly at the bachelor's level, in the earlier part of the degree, is making sure that you all know the fundamentals of how to program. It is very easy to utilize generative AI tools to do the thing that we're asking you to do in that particular class. But we ask that you not use generative AI tools so that you learn those foundational programming skills. One of the things that's really important there is the reason is because you might not have access to those generative AI tools on the job. There's a lot of DoD-focused, Department of Defense, military-focused subcontractors that will not let you use generative AI tools because of the security involved around AI. And one of the things that's really important is that you know those skills when you go into a job interview. Some of the other things that have happened is that there are certain companies that will not let you use use certain tools because it is in their competitor's tool set. And then there's also times where you need to be careful about what you are inputting into the AI tool because you might be giving them proprietary code from your company that you don't personally own. So there's a lot of reasons why you have to be very careful about using AI tools and why looking at the terms and agreement that you're signing is really important, who owns that information, and also being very transparent about the output and how much you've contributed versus how much the AI tool has contributed.
Okay, thank you, Bex. Next question. In what ways do you think AI will shape the future of work, and which industries are likely to change the most? I mean, all industries are.
Yeah.
It's like all of them are going to be changing. But go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I think there's a play in just about any single industry you can think. And I mean, again, I wasn't being sort of facetious, like how much time is there. So I would be consuming multiple listing service data if I were a realtor, and I would be asking all sorts of things of my favorite AI tool, point me to different pockets where you're getting better return on investment and things of that nature. That's the first one that comes to mind as I'm sitting here. And I mean, I think you give my friends here a little more time, you can pick any industry, but anything where some type of analysis of structured data is needed for informed decision making, and really, if you could do that in multiple dimensions, it's going to be a win.
I think for the creative industries, there's going to be more opportunity to even be more creative because you've removed some of the mundane stuff that you have to do, and you've got now more tools to be able to unlock new levels and new areas that you hadn't been able to do before.
Thank you. So Dr. Holly Ludgate mentioned reading the terms and conditions to know if I will own what I create. What are some other things I should look for when deciding whether to use an AI model?
Well, specifically for us, it was the cost. Is it a monthly fee? Is it a yearly fee? Even with the tools that we looked at, is it per export? Is it so much credit that you get per month? How much do you think you're going to use? Are extra features something that you're going to end up having to pay for? So there's a lot of gray
there are lots
area
of limitation. When I was going through I forgot an AI tool for summarizing my meetings and note taking and so on. There are lots of limitation I found, especially if I was trying to move quick, so I was looking for free stuff. But it's like, oh, you get only 1 hour a month, or you get 30 minutes here, or you will get just audio but not Zoom. So it's interesting how things are.
Yeah, they hook you. They'll give you a free month, and you're like, this is amazing, and then they take it away. I can definitely quote quite a few that do that. So it's really figuring out what is the essential for what we need, and does it save my information? Does it store it? Do I get to keep all of it? I mean, just reading through all of that, it's a lot of legalese. Put it into ChatGPT and have it analyze it for you. Is this what you need? It's probably going to tell you what you need.
Yeah, you want to make sure not just the asset that you're creating, okay? You built a beautiful video and you can download it and you own it. That's wonderful. But there's lots of other proprietary stuff that's playing into the recipe, and you have to be comfortable with what the company is saying we're going to do with this data. We're just using it to further refine and train our internal models. Okay, well, what exactly does that mean? Do you have contractors that work for you? Is my personal information at any risk of being exposed beyond use of your tool and that kind of thing? So, and it's something that really, frankly, you should be a little paranoid about. The fine print really tends to address that, and it's usually not favorable for the consumer. You have to read about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're way over time, so thank you all for being here with us today, taking the time, sharing your expertise, sharing expertise and thoughts about AI and AI tools and the future of AI. I really appreciate all your time. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode today, and I hope all of you online enjoy the episode. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us or put your questions online. Our social media team will get to it and will put the answers there. This is Dr. Haifa Maamar from Full Sail University. Have an amazing day. We're good.
Thank you.